going on, guys? Thank you for making it to my channel. Today, what I want to talk about is my conversion story and how I found the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. So it goes way back. I knew about the church at a young age, maybe around 10-ish to 13-ish. I really kind of understood exactly what the LDS church was through my cousins. My cousin, Bo, he is a member of the LDS church in his family. So that was the first introduction I ever really received about the church. So I grew up kind of knowing what it was, and then along with that, like the South Park episodes, the movies, and the random like tidbits of information that float around that's fabricated and a complete lie. Those are what I knew about the church. So I always thought it was like a phony culture, creepy, like weird people, controlled. I thought it was odd. Like I actually really never liked church in general, not even just the LDS church. I'm talking about church in general. I had a very bad experience with it. One of them, when I first started going to church, it was a Church of God. I don't know what kind of church that is. I'm not too knowledgeable in other church structures and stuff like that, but it was Church of God. I remember going, and I went with my neighbor. I had gone maybe 5, 6 times. It got to the point where I had gone enough, and I was doing like the youth, like Wednesday nights, and I was doing like other activities rather than just the Sundays. So at one point during the sermon, I guess you would call it, people would walk up. So people would walk up to the pastor and be like a line of people right at the base of the staircase, and he would walk up and he'd place his hand on your forehead and he would start speaking to you from God. So God would be speaking to you through him, and people would get all kinds of crazy, amazing stuff like said and super detailed and specific. I was like, whoa, this is so cool. I was literally mesmerized. That was the coolest thing I've ever seen, and I wanted in. I wanted to be part of this. So I walked up there to get my first, revelation reading on my forehead. I was super pumped, and he's working his way down. It's coming up to me. I'm really excited. I'm sitting there. I'm feeling loved. I'm feeling happy. And he comes up to me, and he did like 5 or 6 people before me, and they had like detailed information about like taxes. Like it was deep. I really believe this guy was the filter between God and that person. So he came up to me. It was my turn to get my reading, and he places his hand on my forehead, and I'm super excited. I'm real pumped for this. Then he says something generic. He says something along the lines of, keep coming to church. God recognizes you coming. Keep coming. Keep doing what you're doing. Keep up the good work. And then that was it. That was it. I immediately felt, I don't know, I guess I felt kind of baffled. But I was thinking, why does everyone else get like this amazing reading and God talking to them like he has a good relationship with them, and then comes up to me and just says, good job. Like it's like he put a star on my homework and just wrote good work, nothing else. So I never went back after that. I thought it was this huge sham, and I have a good many reasons for that. So anyway, so past that, so after that, I always believed in God. I just never believed in the structures of the church or churches at all, because there's so many. I mean, there's a lot out there. I probably in the thousands. It's intense. So I lived my life, and I'd always pray to God, and I always knew God was present in my life. And I remember in 8th grade, I failed 8th grade because I started hanging out with the wrong kids, making terrible choices. And then I remember going to 9th grade because they can't hold you back, and I just flunked out. I got kicked out of school 2 times to some program, and then I wasn't allowed back into like that county. So in my mind, I'm like, I don't need school. Who cares about school? I'm just gonna keep doing whatever I want in my life. I was super rebellious. It was terrible. And then my dad ends up leaving my mom during this time. So now my mom is freaking out in a sense. Hopefully she doesn't watch this video, but I remember her wanting to kill herself and saying that to me and my sister all the time. So that was rough watching. She was devastated. The household was just falling apart, and I didn't make it any easier. Then I would run away because she was so easily manipulate and control. So I ended up dropping out of school. I would run away. I thought I was like the coolest kid ever, being a bad boy. I thought like that was cool. And so as time goes on, like I'm doing like bad stuff, hanging out with the wrong people, never coming home rarely, maybe just to get food and sleep and stuff like that. So it was really bad. A year goes by, so it's supposed to be about my 10th grade year, and I'm really embedded in this like group of like terrible I won't say terrible people. I feel like everyone's a good person, but a group of people making collectively terrible decisions, doing bad things. And on top of all that, I created an addiction to drugs. So I'm not only am on drugs, hanging out with people I shouldn't be. I'm not in school. I'm literally going nowhere in life. And I got my first girlfriend 10th grade, and it was amazing. This is the first girl I ever really dated. I was super stoked on it. I was like, this is awesome. I felt like an adult. I was just like, I'm out of school. I felt so old. Literally, I was retarded. But I got this girlfriend. My heart starts to fall in love and stuff like that. As time goes on, I mean, we'll fast forward another year. I'm still doing drugs. I'm making terrible decisions, not going to school, still running away from home, doing stuff I'm not supposed to, not creating a relationship with my family, making it really hard on my mom, and she's already dealing with a lot of stuff, obviously, because my dad left. And I remember that girl I was with for like a year, first girlfriend, I remember her cheating on me, and it felt like the end of the world. And not only did she cheat on me, it was with like the group of friends that I was friends with. Oh my gosh. So I felt like I was smoked. I felt like I was stepped on. My world was ending. Everything was crumbling down. Life didn't make sense anymore. And I remember just praying at that point. And I just wanted out. And I remember praying. I hit this like bottom where I knew I had a drug problem. I knew I wasn't in school. The girl that I was with ended up leaving me. The friends I thought I had weren't really my friends. And it all just came crashing down all at once. So I prayed to God, and I just said, I want out. I don't want to be here. I don't want to do this. I can't do it on my own, and I don't know what to do. If you're there and you're listening, please help me. And the weird part was I didn't really feel anything, and nothing really happened, right? And so as time, maybe like a week or two goes by, I remember my dad, who I haven't seen at this point, maybe like 2 years, comes walking up the street looking totally different. Did not recognize him. Had a bald head, tattoos, walking a German Shepherd. I'm just skating my rail out front. This guy comes walking up and approaches me like he's my father. And he's like, "What's up, bud? How you been?" I'm looking at him like he's a crazy person. But ends up being my dad. So him and my mom are sitting in the backyard, and they're having a conversation. And I can't hear what they're saying, but I can see them through the glass. I know that they're talking. And I remember them opening the door and calling me to come back there. So I go back and I sit down in the chair. My dad looks at me, my mom looks at me, and they're both like, "Your father wants to take you to Maryland with him. Do you want to go?" Immediately, I remembered that prayer. Immediately my mind went right back to that prayer, and I felt like this like burst of joy, like you opened up a gift on Christmas and it was exactly what you wanted, or something really good happened to you, you felt good. Immediately I said yes. I said absolutely. I was like, that would be great. That would be so awesome. I'm super excited. When do we leave? And my mom and my dad look at each other, and they look at me, and they told me they thought that they were going to have to fight and struggle with me to get me out of there. But they didn't, because at that point I was so ready. And then when I prayed, God knew. So God made whatever happened happen to make that happen. So the night before, so we were going to leave in like 3 weeks. So the night before, I was hanging out with all my buds, saying goodbye, and I'm kind of excited. And we're all doing stuff we shouldn't be. I was drinking underage and smoking, doing stuff that I wasn't supposed to. So I get to the point where it's like 4 a.m. We're completely, out of our mind, not in the state of mind you should be at that age. And this guy comes to clean the park where we're hanging out at and doing all this stuff we shouldn't be doing. And I remember just looking at my buddy, and I told him, I was like, I'm going to hop in the car and steal his wallet. And I jump in the car, and I'm like looking around in this like truck. It's a work truck too. It's like a park and rec truck with the little doors open up in the back and stuff like that. And I remember looking around the truck, and I see the keys are in ignition, and my stupid self looked at my buddies, smiled, thought it was a good idea, started the car, and took off. Oh boy, what a terrible decision that was. So the cops end up catching me. I go to juvie. My dad comes and gets me out the next morning because he told him that I have to go to Maryland with him, and I have to go. So I end up getting out. I go to Maryland. I'm driving to Maryland, and I'm pretty scared, right? So my mom calls me. She's like, "I'm going to get a lawyer for you." God bless her soul. She's the best woman ever. And she gets me a lawyer. It was either I go to a 2-year youth facility of some sort. I don't know what kind it would be. Or I could stay in the state of Maryland for 1 year and not get in any trouble at all. I mean, nothing more than a speeding ticket, they told me. So it was like January 23 to, like, it was like 07 to like 08. So it was like one complete year, right? So when I first got to Maryland, I did not want to leave at all. I didn't want to stay at all. I wanted to leave immediately. I was immediately lonely. I was unhappy. It wasn't that fun. But because, this is where it starts getting really interesting, right? But because I stole that car, I was not allowed to go back. So I was forced to stay in Maryland. So I was forced to try to make it work. Because if I let's say I didn't steal that car and I wasn't forced to stay in Maryland, I probably would have just went back to my mom and said that's that. I tried Maryland, didn't like it, couldn't hack it, right? Well, since I was forced to stay in Maryland, I ended up just going to school because I was freaking lonely. Hello, right? What better way to meet friends than go to school? So I go to school. I'm trying to change my life, right? I'm trying to keep this like good mental state. No drugs, no bad people, no bad choices and stuff like that. So I'm going to this new school. It's in a small town. Immediately, people did not like me. People wanted to fight me. And the one person who ended up being my friend was probably one of the older, more party-oriented type of people. So I kind of naturally, connected with that person, because that's all I ever did was, party and do stuff I wasn't supposed to. And then all of a sudden, everything that I left Vegas for, I found again in Maryland, right? So, oh boy, the second chance, I'm totally squandering it and ruining it. And I remember praying one more time, and I was like, God, and I got to the point where I knew what was happening, and I was doing everything that was wrong, and I ended up, it's super embarrassing, I'm probably just not going to say it, but I ended up getting pretty addicted to a certain thing, pretty bad, and so now I'm in a worse situation than I was in Vegas when it came to the drugs and stuff like that. So I remember just praying because I knew my life was going to end, and so I prayed. I talked to God like I did last time, and I just told him, I don't know what to do. I can't do this on my own. Please help me. And I remember, again, nothing really happened. I didn't really feel anything. No magical fairy dust came popping down. No fairy godmother, dad popped up, and I was like, whatever. So I ditched school the next day like I kept doing, and I ended up getting some of this substance that I shouldn't have. And before I could wait till I get home, I ended up doing it in the car, and I pass out, and I'm like crooked, blocking both lanes. It was a two-way street, and I'm blocking both lanes, and I just remember waking up to someone opening my door, and there was this lady there, and she started shaking me, and I was like, what's going on? I look around, and I see this cop car just pulling up, like he's just arriving. And I look at this lady, and I have this stuff in my lap, and I told her, I was like, I can't go to jail, and that's all I kept saying, I can't go to jail. So her beautiful heart just, kept me calm and relaxed me, and the cop came, and we talked about it, and I ended up getting arrested, and my dad came to pick me up, and he was like, boy, son, you really messed up. So we had to go to my probation officer that was assigning me from the case in Nevada for the 1 year while I'm in Maryland to monitor me. And they told me that they have an opening in this inpatient program for addiction recovery. So it was something that never happens. They never have an opening at all. So they said the fact that this was there and it was up for my grabs, then I should take it. So I immediately took it, and I went to rehab, and I got the treatment that I needed. And that was a struggle. It was such a huge struggle. I struggled so bad. But it was that point when I realized that God was always helping me in my life. And it was such a beautiful, beautiful, amazing thing. And I graduated the program. I am clean. It's been 60 days at that point. And I felt like I have a new, fresh life. So I go back home. Immediately, I joined the football team, and I'm weight training. I joined the MMA gym. I meet my best friend. I go back to school. I'm so far behind. I had to do this 7-period program where I had to do accelerated classes and pass them. And I had to pass all my high school assessment tests first try. There's 4 of them to graduate. So basically, I went to school for just my senior year and a partial part of the junior year. Yeah. So I ended up going back. I stayed on the straight and narrow. I kept my life clean. Oh, on top of all that, so after the rehab, it wasn't just you got a rehab and you're good. No, I was in a drug court program, so I was in that for 400 and I don't know, like 27 days, a long time. So it was like a year of my life. There was 4 phases, and each one I think was 3 months. So it was a long period. But that program, the beauty of it was it not only helped me keep clean, they drug tested me Monday, Wednesday, Friday. They monitored my school grades. They monitored my home. I had to go in there. I had to do different programs. I had to volunteer. I had to do all kinds of stuff. Honestly, me leaving Vegas, me being forced to stay in Maryland, me being sent to this program, and then me being in the program throughout that period really changed my entire life for the better. So everything that I had prayed for, God completely helped me out with. And it was such an amazing experience, and I really felt God in my life. I don't know why he cared so much to help me. I don't know why he loved me so much. It didn't make sense. I felt like I was this terrible person. I didn't deserve anything. But whatever he did, it worked. So I graduated high school with honors, and I enlisted in the Marine Corps like the day before I graduated. So my life really went from being a 13-year-old, 14-year-old kid who didn't expect to live past 20 and knew he was a nobody and was doing such horrible things, to someone that had a possible future. Like at that point, when I was graduating and I was joining the Marine Corps, I felt so grateful for God in my life because I knew it was him. It wasn't anyone. It wasn't just luck. It wasn't just random. It was God. God 100% knew what he had to do in my life to get me where I needed to be, around the people I needed to be around, and in the situations I needed to be in. And honestly, I'm grateful to have learned everything that I've learned. I'm so grateful for the experience, what I experienced. I feel like it really made me such a more well-rounded person, and I do feel bad for all the bad that I did, and I do feel like I kind of wasted my life a little bit, but at the same time, I think that I could help people, which is why I really wanted to start this channel, so I can help people who maybe are in situations like me, or maybe they're in a bad situation and want to get out and can't. But, so obviously this conversion story is very long, so I'm going to continue. So I joined the Marine Corps, and I'm just clean, alcohol-free, drug-free. I'm doing things. I graduated high school, so I'm feeling really educated at this point. So I'm in the Marine Corps, maybe 3 years, 2 years. I meet a girl, I get married, and I'm living the dream, right? I'm living the dream. I got a job, I got a wife. I'm freaking stoked. I feel so blessed. I woke up every day feeling so blessed. Well, then I started drinking a little bit because that's like the social norm in the Marine Corps. I started drinking a little bit, and I guess I have that addictive personality where I just take things way too far. So I ended up drinking, and it gets to the point where I am not maintaining a relationship. My wife is doing the same thing at the time. My ex-wife, I should say, is doing the same thing. So the drinking really caused a problem. It got to the point where we were just kind of like unhappy with each other. And then she ended up having an affair on me, and then I caught her having an affair. Totally devastated me. I mean, that's one of those things that doesn't make sense. Like, why would anyone ever marry someone and be with someone if they're just gonna do that? Like that's like the worst of the worst. Anyways, so that was a total blind side. I was devastated, and that hurt me. And not only when she was confronted about it, she ended up like choosing this dude, and that was even more painful. And after a week, I begged her to come back, and she came back, and then we were together for maybe like, I don't know, one more week. And this part really hurt. And I remember we were hanging out, we were sitting in the jacuzzi in my apartment complex. I'm talking to like with the neighbors, other people in the jacuzzi. She leaves, comes back for a second to give me a drink, and then she leaves. And I was there for like maybe an hour. I get up out of the jacuzzi, I go home because it's getting late, maybe like 9:30, 10, and I go home and like the house is empty. Like not like the couches and stuff, but like all her stuff is gone, the car's gone. It was empty, and I was, what is going on? This is crazy. Well, she ended up feeling like she really needs to give this guy a chance, and I'm thinking, what in the world? So I'm devastated. I break down, and I get to the point where like I wanted to kill myself. I remember calling my buddies and just telling them that I want to die, and they came over. They gave me, you know, the attention. They stayed with me for a little bit, made sure I was okay. And so as time went by, I kept trying to, you know, like I don't care. I'm cool. I'm good. My life will move on. And I started going out drinking, and as I'm going out drinking, I'm drinking to the point where I'm blacking out, complete and utter blackouts. I remember going to Vegas one time, and I spent all my money. I think I spent like $3,000 saved. I spent all that. I went to Vegas one time, and I went somewhere in my truck and got blacked out drunk. And then when I came to, I'm like walking down the Vegas Strip, and there's nothing in my pockets besides my truck keys. So I went to the last place I remember. I went there, there's no truck. I don't have a phone, I don't have a wallet, I don't have an ID, I don't have money. So I am panicking. The only thing I can think of to do is take a taxi cab home, get home, my sister pays for it, I'm crying, she's telling me, just go to bed, we'll find it in the morning. The next morning, we searched for hours and hours and hours. I'm calling Toyota, asking if there's like LoJack in there. I'm calling the police, filing a police report. Luckily, I ended up finding it. I ended up going into one of the parking garages, and I kept hitting the alarm button everywhere I went, and eventually the sound went off, so that was good. Another thing, I blacked out one time, and I ended up in Mexico with this guy. I had no clue who was, with a $2,000 bar tab. I remember the policia were there, he was there, and I just kind of like came to. So it was getting bad. I was just drinking to the point where I'm not even knowing what I'm doing. Like, who does that? That's crazy. Well, and then there's the one time. So after this keeps happening and I'm not doing anything about it, I'm literally just wasting my life. Like, I'm feeling sorry for myself, but I'm not doing anything to make it better. And I ended up doing that again. I blacked out, got pulled over by the cops. Whoa. Talk about bad. So I'm blacked out, and I wake up to red and blue lights in my rear view mirror. And that's when I came to. And in my mind, I'm thinking, everything is over. Everything that I built for, gone. I just ruined and wrecked my entire life. I am back to where I was years and years ago, to nothing. I'm about to lose it all. In the military, because I am in the military right now, in the military, you can't, zero tolerance. You can't drink and drive. I see people lose rank and not able to re-enlist. So now I'm about to lose my career. Not only did I lose the woman I was married to, I spent all the money I had to where I'm broke. I literally ruined my career. What is going on? So now I'm at that second point in my life where it's the second bottom of the barrel, but a little bit more deeper, because I'm on my own and I should be able to fend for myself. So now everything is over. And I didn't know what to do. I remember I had orders to get stationed in North Carolina maybe like 3 or 4 weeks before I got that DUI. So I had moved out of my apartment, and I had everything packed up and getting ready to ship. I was crashing on my buddy's couch just for the couple weeks, and so at that point, I'm technically kind of like homeless in a sense. So I don't have a home. I got a DUI. My ex-wife left me. I'm feeling crappy. I blacking out like crazy. So everything's just going bad. And I remember just laying in bed and just feeling lonely. I was just feeling so lonely. Like, I always just had this hole in my heart. Like something was missing. I was unhappy. Something was wrong. And I remember just crying, and I just felt so sorry for myself. And I wanted to die. So I never really got to the point where I would actually kill myself. Sometimes I would like just say that to my friends, like, I feel like I want to die. I don't want to be here anymore. But this was the first time in my life where I kind of kept it to myself, and I felt like it didn't matter. Like I feel like I didn't matter. I feel like I had no purpose. Like, what was my contribution to this earth? Like, what was I doing to provide to this world? I wake up and do nothing. I just felt useless. And I just remember sitting there crying, and I got on my hands and knees and like looked up to God and I prayed for this to stop. I said, please God, help me. Please, I'm sad. I want to die. I want to kill myself. I don't know what to do. I don't know what's going on. I say, please help me. And the reason I would pray, and I should have prayed more often, because I remember the times when he came into my life before. Like, I never forgot that he isn't like a loving and just God. I just know that I can't just go to him every time I have a problem. But I would do that. Like, he would help me, and then I would just mess it all up. He would help me, and I just mess it up again. So I kept messing it up. And at that point, when I knew I was about to kill myself, when I prayed, immediately, I'm talking like 30 minutes after I get done praying, my phone goes off, and there's an app I was using to meet girls, and it goes off, and I hadn't used it in quite a while, so the fact that it went off was kind of shocking. And I look, and it says it's a match, and it was Tinder. So I, out of curiosity, I opened it up, I look, and there's this girl. This beautiful, beautiful, gorgeous, gorgeous girl. And at first, I kind of like just looked at it and set it down. I was thinking, she's too pretty for me. There's no way. So as I'm sitting there feeling sorry for myself, and in my mind I'm thinking, you're gonna kill yourself anyways. What's there to lose? So I sent a message like, hey, what's up? You know what? Actually, no. I remember the first thing I said. This is funny. She was wearing a Buffalo Wild Wings jersey, like, cause she worked there, and her name was Jessica. And I remember this girl I was talking to told me about her crazy, insane roommate named Jessica who worked at Buffalo Wild Wings. So the first thing I asked her was, are you crazy? And I remember her response was like laughing. She was like, ha, I don't think so. And that's like how it started. So we started talking. She was really interesting, and I guess I was interesting. Who would have thought? And we had this conversation. Totally took my mind off of all the sad and lonely feelings I was feeling. It was so comforting and amazing to feel like someone was interested in me, because when my wife had left, or ex-wife had left, I just felt useless, because obviously if someone's choosing someone else over you, it just makes you think like, who are you? Like, I felt like I was nothing. So the fact to feel that someone's interested in me was totally so amazing. So we talked that whole night. The next day, I'm totally distracted. I'm like really into this girl. I'm starting to feel like butterflies, and my heart was beating a little bit faster, and I wasn't feeling as sad. So it really, really helped me a lot. And I think that was honestly, her matching with me on Tinder was probably the one thing that kept me alive during that time. And so I was able to go to work. I went to work, and I asked her out on a date that Friday, because I couldn't wait any longer. This girl was way too beautiful. She's gorgeous. She's interested in me. She's amazing to talk to, has great conversations. She's insightful, intelligent, like everything you would want. It's almost like it was too good to be true. I guess I must have filmed too long and that camera shut off. That is terrible. Okay, I don't know where I last left off. I didn't check, but so I pick her up on our date, and I'm really pumped and excited. I mean, I got this gorgeous, gorgeous girl driving down with me to San Diego, and I'm feeling good. She's looking good. So we're driving down, and I remember pointing to this building and saying, you see that building? And she was like, yeah. And I was like, doesn't it look like a spaceship? And she was like, yeah. She's like, that's the San Diego Temple. And I look at her, and I said, what is the San Diego Temple? What does that mean? She told me, she's like, that's a house of God. That's a temple. That's an LDS temple. And I was just like, how do you know that? And then she told me, she's like, I'm LDS. And at that very moment, I remember just pausing, and everything just kind of went in slow motion. And I was like, and I like turned and I looked at her and thought I was looking at an angel. And literally, it was like an invisible halo above her head. Because at that very moment, I knew immediately that was God. That was God answering my prayer. He sent an angel to come down and save me. I felt so blessed, and I got so happy. I was just like, oh, I could like run a marathon. So we continued on the date, and I started asking her questions about the LDS church, because I kind of knew what LDS was through my cousins. So I'm asking her question. Then we kind of just went on with our date, and I had the best date ever. This is the most amazing girl in the world. I'm super excited. I feel super happy. I knew this person was sent to me from God, and I don't think I told her at that moment that I prayed to God, and then she came into my life. I don't even think I was acting. She didn't even know anything was going on. I had a really good front on. I was just like pretending I was all happy and confident, knew what I was doing, but it was honestly the greatest feeling in the world. And I kept asking her questions. She agreed to go on another date with me. We ended up going to talk to missionaries because she was like, I can't answer all your questions, but these people can. So I was kind of like, no, I don't want to go talk to missionaries. That's scary. Like, I'm nervous. That kind of stuff is awkward. I don't know what my reasons were, but she got me in front of the missionaries, and I ended up talking to the missionaries, asking them a bunch of questions, and it was actually amazing. Talking to the missionaries was not like recruiting. They weren't trying to get me to sign a piece of paper and fork over a bunch of money, or sign my soul over, or anything crazy like that. We just had a conversation. They asked me, what do I know? What do I want to know? And then we went from there. And we didn't even stay on topic the whole time. Sometimes we talk about, personal life, then we get back on topic, then we just talk about like random stuff. So it was literally just having a conversation with a cool person. And they were normal people. I thought they were like these weird people, like 2 years of life. I always thought that was odd, And no, these people were just completely cool, totally normal. It was awesome. So after I did maybe like 2 or 3 of these missionary lessons, they asked me to go to church. So initially I said, yeah, super nervous. So nervous that Sunday came, the girl calls me. She was like, are you coming? I was like, oh, I don't know. Yeah, I think I am. I don't have a shirt. I don't know what to do. I don't have anything to wear. She was like, just put a shirt on and come. So I was like, okay. So I put this shirt on. It was a blue shirt. It was like this, but it was like a light blue. And California was kind of hot at the time. I remember walking to my car and immediately just sweating. And it got so bad that it showed. Oh, it showed. And it was so bad. I was so nervous and embarrassed that I told her, I'm not going. I can't do it. I'm not going. I can't do it. I swept my shirt. She was like, you go put another shirt on right now and you get down here. She's like, I'm not going to go on another date with you or something like that. It's probably not that extreme. But so I went back. I put a black shirt on, right? I put a black shirt on, and I still was sweating through it, but you couldn't see it this time. I get to church. I'm sitting in the parking lot with this girl, and I am nervous. This is something totally just out of my world, different. I don't know why I was building it up in my head, but I finally built up the courage, maybe through her forcing me to give it a try, and walked into the church. Immediately upon walking into the church, I was greeted from everyone. I felt so loved, so happy. It was great. Everyone wanted my number. Everyone wanted to invite me to like paintball or rock climb or something. I was like, this is amazing. And on top of all of that, it's kind of like people have this natural intuition to kind of tell if someone's a good person or not. I walked in, everyone was just smiling and glowing. Everyone just seemed like such good people. I felt happy. So we sit down during the first hour, and people were going up there talking because it was the first Sunday where they go up and share their testimony. And I remember this one guy in a gray suit and pink tie. He shared his testimony from a mission he just returned from very recently, and just blew me away. Completely felt like that message was for me specifically. Like, what were the odds that he would say what he had said on my first day? And I can't remember exactly the words, so I don't even want to try to attempt to try to say it, but it was enough to know that I felt where I was at was exactly where I needed to be, and then I had found my place. So we ended up going to the rest of the day, and every encounter with anyone, everything I learned just felt right and felt good. I felt like I was home. Like, I literally felt like I was home. Like, I was where I was supposed to be with the people I was supposed to be with. And after that, it was just easy. I kept going back, kept reading the Book of Mormon. I kept doing study time with my girlfriend and the missionaries. I got to the point where I was teaching gospel principles and just fulfilling any calling I was able to receive, made really good friends, completely turned my life around, and then eventually got baptized. And actually, I got baptized before I started teaching and stuff like that. But I got baptized, and my life just became so much better after that. Literally so much better in every sense. The testimonies were easy to build in a sense of me praying and asking for specific signs or revelations from God. And I think the hardest one was tithing. I'm not going to talk about that now, but that'll be another video later. But immediately my life became so much better. I'm so grateful that the girl who is a beautiful daughter of God came into my life, literally saved my life. Sometimes I tell her the story that it's like she saved my life, and I don't think she realizes the seriousness of it or the impact that she played in my life and saving me. But I'm so grateful to have God in my life and who's always been there to answer my prayers. I'm so grateful to have found the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. It is definitely the true church, and I feel very blessed to be a part of it and have found it. Sometimes I wish I found it sooner, but I'm just so grateful that I am where I am today. That girl, I ended up marrying her, so she's my amazingly beautiful, gorgeous, awesome wife. So the person who saved me, I got to marry, so that's awesome. We were sealed together in the temple in Salt Lake, so that was the greatest experience ever. And I really hope that maybe my conversion story will relate to yours, or maybe mine is enough inspiration to maybe help you in your testimony, or if you're investigating the church, maybe it's enough to help you break through the ice or push through that barrier that's in between you and fully committing yourself for some sort. If you have any questions at all, please message me or write a comment below. I will be more than happy to talk to you more, give you more insight or advice. I plan personally to create as many videos as possible about lessons in the church and updates and stuff like that, because I want to share the gospel. I feel that I want everyone to feel the way I feel, especially people who are like down in their luck or feel like their life isn't meaningful of any sort, because there is more to life than wherever they are at that point in time. And that's what I thought. I thought there was nothing more to my life and it was over. And I was like, there's nothing that can make me happy. Well, when I finally got baptized and went to church, that missing piece that was always like that hole we hear about that people say is missing, that was the piece. It was Jesus Christ. And that's why I think people who even have happy lives, but they still feel like something's missing, is because they don't have Jesus Christ at the center. And that was, once I put Jesus Christ at the center of my life, everything just started coming together. My life turned around. Literally, where I'm at today is amazing. And I have all thanks to my wife for saving me and the church for teaching me the principles of the gospel and Jesus Christ and God, definitely, of course, God. So I'm just so grateful. I really hope that I could touch your life. And if I have, and you felt something from this video, please comment below, message me, and continue watching other videos. Keep an eye out, subscribe. I'm very grateful, and I hope you guys have a blessed day. Thank you.